Hey folks, Rick Crawford, glad to join you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today, and always a great opportunity to come and visit with folks at this particular conference. It's been a while since I was with you live. It's actually been several years, and I look forward to the opportunity. Hopefully next time around we can do this in person, and we can spend some time together having a conversation about the things that are important to you on your farm. One of the things that keeps coming up here lately, and in fact this goes back several months, where people were asking me about what can we do to, not to necessarily improve conservation practices, which y'all are doing a great job of and have been for quite some time. How do we monetize that? How do we commoditize conservation? So I've got some ideas about that, and let me start by saying, before my ideas are discussed, we've actually reached out to several different groups to try and put together some meetings so that we can talk really kind of crop by crop, because every crop is different practices for different crops. So we're looking at essentially trying to get feedback from rice producers, cotton producers, obviously, soybean producers, corn producers, what have you. First off, find the commonalities among these producers in their agronomic practices, conservation practices, and then what are the specific practices to those individual crops, and come up with a way to provide that sort of commoditization, if you will, so that we can turn your conservation practices into a revenue stream. Now the reality is we've been in a rut now for almost 10 years in terms of commodity prices, and so we need to think about, okay, yes, our output is important and our prices are important, but when we see stagnant prices over such an extended period of time as we've seen, then we got to look at, on the input side, how do we improve our bottom line by the things that we're doing to make the crop? So one of those things I think could be how we sort of certify conservation practices. What I'd like to do, and you see this in the organic market, obviously there's a USDA certification, and that commands a higher premium in the marketplace. Not everybody can afford to buy organic when it comes to their food choices, and so it's still relatively a niche market. It commands a premium on the shelf, and that is sort of realized at the farm gate for those producers who are engaged in organic production. But the reality is we can't have widespread, large-scale organic production, because in order to achieve an organic standard, you'd have to take a whole lot of acres out of production, as we know. So, but why I'm using that as a comparison is, what if we had some sort of a standard that indicated good stewardship, conservation practices, healthy soil certification. People know where their food's coming from, whether that be some sort of a chain of custody from the field to the shelf, the sustainability practices that you're engaged in. If we can check the several boxes to show and demonstrate that you're engaged in those healthy practices that would impart a level of confidence to the consumer, and they're willing to pay a little extra, that's gonna basically be manifest in your farm gate prices. And that's what we're really trying to do, is figure out all sides of this equation, not just the output, not just your crops going to the marketplace, whether cotton, rice, wheat, corn, soybeans, whatever it is, but really seeing your conservation efforts pay off and become a marketable commodity in and of itself. And so that's really kind of the goal, what we're striving for. I know that I've talked to a lot of producers over this last year on how we can do that, but I think we're going to have to start thinking proactively about how we look at both sides of this equation, the input side, the output side, and see where the value lies in how we derive revenue. It can't be just about the output when we see the long-term stagnation of prices of these commodities. And so what we want to do is explore how we create value on the production side before the crop is ever harvested, so that your crop is worth more as a result. So that's what I'm focused on, have been for a few months, but now we're going to really make that a priority by reaching out to groups. As I said, we'll start crop specific and gather some information, and then we'll start to share this information and propose some suggestions about what we could do from a policy perspective to improve your earning potential and make those margins maybe a little less thin, and hopefully make your enterprise a little more profitable. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share with you. You know, as I said, we're looking forward to the opportunity to where we can be in person and share a question and answer period, things like that. Until then, y'all keep going and keep doing what you do, and I appreciate you.